Welcome to A Perfect Touch. I'm Jeanette. The last blog post and video I created for you shared the inspiration and sewing of the 1825 evening gown for the Lafayette birthday ball and soiree in Fayetteville, North Carolina. In this blog post and video, I will share the accessories for that gown, a turban, a reticule, and the other perfect touches for that special event. At the end of this blog post and video, I'll tell you of that special evening and all the wonderful details leading up to the Lafayette birthday ball and soiree. Let's get started. The Ackermann's Repository 1825 illustration shows a soft crown turban-style headdress. There was a gold band at the base and gold fabric woven through the wrapped style. I'm using Wingio WN 714 1795 to 1825 Regency era turban pattern. There are 3 pattern pieces, a buckram band, a crown, and a lining. The buckram is cut using the pattern and stitched at the back. The fabric for the crown is the plum satin, also used for the gown. The lining is a coral silk. Both pieces are cut using the pattern. Gathering stitches are sewn on the crown as indicated on the pattern, and the crown is gathered and pinned to the buckram band and then basted in place. The lining seam is sewn closed and sewn over the crown at the lower edge. For my turban, I left the lining edge unfinished as it would be covered by the woven ribbon. The same woven ribbon used on the evening gown is hand-stitched to the lower edge of the turban, through all layers, and at both edges of the ribbon. With the base complete, it is time to sew the turban wrappings. I'll be using 3 fabrics: the embroidered ribbed organza used on the sleeves of the gown, with an underlayer of highly reflective metallic gold stretch poly, and the plum satin. All fabrics are cut to the lengths as directed for your chosen fabric weights. The long edges of the satin and the organza with the gold underlayer are sewn with a narrow hem. One short end of each fabric is sewn together with gathering stitches and gathered as tightly as possible. The gathered end is sewn to the center back of the turban base, and the layers wound around each other, tucking the machine-sewn hems until I found a wrapping that I liked, and then I tacked the ends and the wrapping in several places to the base. The pattern includes some decorating suggestions, and one was a button at the center front or side. I had a large button blank and covered it with the satin. A medallion was cut from the woven ribbon and glued to the center of the button. A vintage feather in an ecru color seemed right to pick up the ecru lace on the sleeves of the gown, and I tried the feather and button in several locations on the turban. The finished turban is so easy to wear since the lining sits nicely on the head and stays put without any combs or pins. It was comfortable to wear for the entire evening. I love the way the gold underlayer really shines through in low light. The reticule pattern I'm using is from the La Mode Bagatelle Regency wardrobe. I love the size of this reticule, especially as it is perfect for my smartphone. 2 pieces of fabric are cut from the plum satin for the exterior of the reticule. 2 pieces are cut from the coral silk for the lining. The metallic embroidered net, which was not used for the gown sleeves, is now used as an overlay on the front of the reticule. The overlay is stitched to the satin along the top edge of the overlay. The front and back satin and overlay pieces are sewn at the outer edges, leaving openings where the drawstrings will be threaded into the reticule. The lining pieces are sewn together at the outer edges, leaving a small opening where the reticule will be turned right side out after the outside and lining are sewn together. With right sides together, the top edge is sewn. The outer fabric is pulled through the opening left in the lining, and the opening stitched closed. The lining is then smoothed to the inside of the reticule. Two lines of stitching are sewn through both layers of the reticule. One line will be slightly above the openings left in the outer fabric, and the other will be slightly below. Two drawstrings are cut from ribbon. One will be threaded through an opening on one side and go all the way around the reticule, coming out the same opening. The process is repeated for a drawstring through the opening on the other side. The ends of each drawstring are knotted, and when pulled, the reticule closes. 5 silk tassels sewn to each point enhance the gold metallic net overlay and contrast nicely when held against the satin gown. The Ackermann's repository illustration has a beautiful necklace, and I felt it was important that my creation had a statement piece. I started that search very early in the gown creation, and with only my phone and a piece of the woven ribbon, looked at hundreds of possible jewelry sets. While the illustration set appears as a blue and gold, the woven ribbon looked beautiful against a coral and gold set found on Etsy, offered by Allures Zaton in France. An acro silk embellished shawl with knotted fringe is an accessory I've used many times, as are the ecru gloves beaded along the wrist edges. A pair of velvet shoes seemed a nice touch with the velvet ribbon at the hem of the gown. A collection of photos taken after the event, since as you know already, the gown was finished just minutes before. Preparation and excitement for the September Lafayette birthday ball and soiree began months before the event, and it was more than sewing and accessorizing. For me, it began in June when I attended the Foundation's lecture hosted by Rebecca of Bespoke Vintage in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Here we received a swag bag and information of the bicentennial of Lafayette's farewell tour happening in 2024 and 2025. With all information in hand and a successful drive to Fayetteville, North Carolina, my first longer drive since my leg injury, I was ready to commit to attend the Lafayette Ball and reserved my place. An incredible surprise arrived one day. It was my personal invitation to the ball. What an absolute delight. Over the weeks before the ball, our host Rebecca would send information regarding the ball, including the schedule of events, the additional meetup and dinner available, the games and exhibitions that would be included. She held a contest for signature cocktails to be served during the ball, and so much more. It was so much extra leading up to the night of a spectacular event. September finally arrives, and the Friday before the birthday ball is travel day. Driving to Fayetteville through Greensboro includes afternoon tea at the O. Henry Hotel, named after the world-renowned short story writer William Sidney Porter, born in Greensboro, pen name O. Henry. The interior of the hotel is glorious, and the tea is a perfect beginning to an elegant weekend. That evening, all who wish meet up for a casual meal followed by a screening of Austenland at the Cameo Art House in Fayetteville. While there were moviegoers in era-appropriate costume looking fabulous, I accessorized with my Hamilton Spencer, Regency riding boots, a leather crop, and a tally-ho reticule made just for this event. Saturday came in like a lion with gray skies and thunderstorms. The Lafayette Society of Fayetteville was hosting a birthday celebration in Lafayette Park that day, complete with cupcakes. I was prepared with my white gown, pink Spencer, and a new pink feathered beret. Sadly, the storms kept everyone inside, but for a brief walk through the deserted park between downpours. As if on cue, the rain held off long enough for a quick dash to circa 1800 for our pre-ball dinner. It was during dinner that our host Rebecca gave us our envelopes for our bookings. My Duchess-level reservation included a horse-drawn carriage ride to the event venue, a card to present for an announcement upon my arrival at the venue, signature drink tickets, a dance card, and ticket for my souvenir bag. While it had again poured rain all through dinner, the skies magically cleared just long enough for all the horse-drawn carriage rides to whisk their passengers to the venue. Our tables were adorned with bee-ribboned bags with information from the Lafayette Society. The musicians were talented, the dance mistress a joy. The young Lafayette was portrayed by Rebecca's son, who had just celebrated the birthday Lafayette was when he first arrived in the American colonies. Lynn Bull portrayed Lafayette upon his return to the United States in 1824. There was, of course, a beautiful and delicious birthday cake, and we sang Les Marseillaises and Hail Columbia. Throughout the gorgeous and spacious venue were exhibits and period-appropriate games. I reconnected with friends I haven't seen in a very long time and spent time with others that are now new friends. While I was having such a great time and forgot to take a lot of photos and videos, there was a professional photographer there with a fitting backdrop, and I posed in my best Ackermann's repository recreation pose. At the end of the evening, I visited the vault and Claudia Zamora for a personal reading, very insightful and just a bit spooky. My personal souvenir bag had lots of goodies, all thoughtfully designed by our host, Rebecca, of Bespoke Vintage. I'm so happy I've been able to share this journey with you. This was an incredible event, hosted with all beautiful thought and great effort, a true success, and wonderful introduction to the Bicentennial Lafayette Farewell Tour that will cross many states in 2024 and 2025, giving all who choose a chance to remember and celebrate the difference that one person can make in history.